Let's get started. I'm gonna actually do a PSA just because we're starting this, and you can't see on the screen, but I'll tell you. So this site that I link on, I link this on my Ramam BQ podcast and YouTube channel, YouTube videos, da'at.ac.il. Okay, and /he/il/machshavet/Israel/Yisod. That's the full thing. It has got really good stuff, and just to tell you, like the stuff I use on it, it has Shmona Prakim of the Rambam. It's got the Sadi Gaon Emunus Videos. It has, I think, a Kafach translation. It has Avraham Ibn Ezra's Yisod, more of a Soda Torah, which is his Hashkafa work. It has been Bachi in Pekuda, Chovos HaLevos, I think also the Kafach edition. The Ravid's Emuna Rama, which is his Hashkafa work. This is the first Ravid, not the third, which is the one we're used to, I think. Rabbi Yehuda Levi.
Wait, there's more than one Ravid?
Have you not seen my? Hold on, I got
people named Ravid.
Okay, let me show you the diagram to explain. Hold on, you have to come over here.
Okay.
This is how it is.
That's great.
There are 3 Ravids.
Oh man.
Okay. yeah, but there are 3 Ravids. Yeah, I think the one who comments on the Ramam is the third one.
Okay.
Or the second one, but he's not the first one.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So it has the Kuzari translated also, I think, by Kafach. It has Shlomo Eden Gavierol. Have you heard of him? He's a yeah, but he also wrote like Hashkafa stuff, influenced people. He this book Tikkun Midas HaNefesh. It has Rabag Milchamas Hashem, which is also, I don't know where else that's available online. Sefer HaIkarim, Rabbeinu Yonah's Sefer HaYira, which is another not as well known work. It has Rechas Ekresas or Hashem.
Oh, it has that? Oh my God.
Yep.
Oh, I was looking for
Yeah, right. This is like all the good stuff. It has I don't know which Rabbeinu Asher this is. The Orchos Chaim of the Rush. I think it's the Rush.
what? Yes.
Okay, but this is all the stuff I don't use. Okay, stuff I do use. It has the Ramaz Hagdam Perek Chelek Kafach translation. Sefer Mitzvos Kafach. That's the one I use for that year. Ramam's Mamar Tchias Mesim, Mamar Kiddush Hashem, Igeres Teman, the letter to the to Marseille, the Mor Nevuchim Kafach with all the footnotes, the Mor Nevuchim Michael Schwartz translation, which I think is the one that Al Torah uses, so that's not as much of a question anymore. The Hagdama to the Parish of Mishnah, the Shmona Prakim, good translation. Avraham ben Avraham Mamar al drashos Chazal, which is what we're doing. The Narboni's commentary on the Mor Nevuchim. You know about him?
No.
So he's the one that Rabbi Chain said people got mad at him because he revealed all the secrets of the Morah. He like commented too far, like because Ram says don't explain anything that I myself don't explain, and like I guess he did. It has Igros Rambam, it has the Chuvas Rambam. So it's got like a lot of good stuff. So yeah, that's a good site to know about. I use it a lot, and it's a little cumbersome interface wise, but it's got a lot of good stuff. Okay, yeah.
Actually, when you started listing things, I was like, I wonder if it has the.
Yeah. Okay, so what we're doing is the Ma'amar, what's called the Ma'amar al drashos Chazal. I don't even think it actually had a title, but this is from Avraham ben Avraham on Agadata. Okay, and I don't know what the deal is. So in the parentheses it says kita'im, like fragments. Al pi mahaduras lipsia. I don't know what that is. So I don't know if there are different editions. I don't know. I assume he wrote this in Arabic. So I don't know who translated this. Maybe he did write it. He wrote. I'm not sure. So I don't know much about this. We'll see if we can find out. Okay, so this is Mamar on Agadata. Yeah. Okay, so. Da ki kol hanimsa b'talmud v'zulasa mechibura hachachamim zal. Oh yeah, so you see where we are? It's got a little hakdama there, or a little table of contents, but that's not his. So you should know that everything found in the Talmud and other things from the compositions of the Chachamim, Bali Midrashos Famasios, who had these Midrashos and events, Divri Hapsukim Hanimtzaim Biadenu Ata Me'atim Ve'ne'elamim Me'ene Kol HaHogim B'Talmud. So that's interesting, right? The words of the psukim that are found in our hands now are few, mean, I think he means the madrashos on the psukim that are found in our hands are few. And ne'elamim ine kol hogim b'talmud, and they are ne'elamim. They are like concealed, hidden to people who are contemplators of the Talmud. Rubei hamafarshim lo shalchu bahem yadam v'lo ba'a nafshim b'sodam. Majority of commentators did not even attempt. They didn't send forth their hand. They didn't even attempt, and they didn't go into their secret council. Okay, so like there are lots of midrashim, and it is crazy. I don't know, like, have you ever flipped through Midrash Rabbah? It's huge, and that's just Midrash Rabbah, like on the on the Chumash Torah and like the Megillos, but there are tons of, there's Tanchuma, there's like Yalkut Shimoni, there's Yalkut Reuveni, there's like Mechilta, right? So the halachic midrashim, of which Mechilta is one, the halachic midrashim are much more like limited in their number, and those I think are more commented on because they're halachic. But like the agadic ones are just like, there's just tons of them, and it's true that you just aren't going to find that many people who comment on them even now, like certainly in his day, but like even now you don't have a lot of people who comment on them, so the reality is still there. All right.
Is there like I guess it's a weird question, but like what determines whether something gets into the Gemara versus just?
So it's interesting. I don't know. The Rabag in the Hakdama that we did, I think I pointed this out at the time, said that the midrashim in the Masechtos are related to the inyan of the Masechta, which to me is like an astounding concept. Like really, like all of them, like a lot of them seem to be like some of them sometimes they're related. Like the midrashim when they darshan all of Megillus Esther in Megillah, obviously that's related, but like
the Agadas in drashos, are those like
yeah, right. I mean, like I don't know. Yeah. In terms of whether they got into the Gemara or in other midrashic compilations, I really don't know. And they're also compiled at different times, and that's another thing you got to be aware of. Is there are more authentic and less authentic midrashim. Like yeah, that's like an authentic one, right? Or is that not an authentic one? I can't remember. Okay, yeah. I really don't remember. You always have to like look it up on Wikipedia, to see like when it was compiled, and but like if you look at we used to do a thing in my one of my like 10th grade Chumash classes where like students would bring in, were any of you raised on like the Little Midrash Says? No. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so apparently a lot of people were, and one thing I didn't know about it is like in the back, they have the sources, which is interesting, which is good for them, but like not all of them are represented accurately, like because they make them into stories, and then some of them like are really sketchy, like I've never heard of these midrashic collections before, so like you got to be on guard,
Who's the publisher of Little Midrash? Archwell?
I don't think so, but I don't know for sure.
There's also a Midrash Says, right?
Yes, yeah. I also don't know who does that. I don't even know if they're related.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like it would be like a copyright infringement thing.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, if you just change it quantitatively, then is that yeah. All right, so here we get to, I've always wanted to make a list of the top 10 books that were never written, and this is going to be on the list. The Avi Morizal Chashav L'chaber Sefer B'Pirushan. Rambam wanted to write a Pirush on Agarta. Kasher Zachar B'Tchilas Pirush Mishnah, as he mentions in the beginning of the Pirush of the Mishnah. Ulevasof Nata Me'alav, but in the end he deviated from it. Yira Moshe Mikeshes Elav, and Moshe feared to approach it. Kasher Amar B'Tchilas Hamora, as he says in the beginning of the Mora. So he himself says in the beginning of the Mora he didn't want to do it. I don't remember the reason why. I don't know if it was because he didn't want to like expose the all the secrets, or like he thought that, I think if I remember correctly, he might have said that in decoding the Midrashim, then like he couldn't explain them explicitly because that'd be revealing secrets. And then if he didn't explain them explicitly, it would just be like exchanging one term that you don't understand for another term you don't understand, which he does do in the beginning of the third chelak when he explains the Mara of Yechezkel, I don't know, but Ram didn't do it, so too bad. Okay. Vani Ahar Petiraso, careful it's not rotten. After his passing, Pirashti b'inyan zeh ma'at kat. So I explained a little bit of it. Okay. V'lo natisi, and I did not deviate mipnei shenis asakti b'chibur hasefer zeh, because I was involved in the chibur of the sefer. I just want to check the translation here. So there's a translation. Do you know the English Ein Yaakov?
Article. They just came out with it.
Oh, I'm talking about the older one. There's an older one. Article I'm sure is good
They
also.
just came out with it.
The older one though has the translation of this whole Amram and Ramam in it.
Cool.
If you ever need it, yeah. So I found it online somewhere. I don't know if it's a whole thing though. The translation says, after my father's death, I decided to write a few explanatory remarks on the subject in the hope that it will be helpful to students in the field. Is that what it says here?
Yeah, it's on. What?
What was that? Oh, you got
It
it?
says in Yaakov on here.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, I'll just mention, because I mentioned this to R Avraham recently, on the Ein Yaakov, I think the perush called H Yosef or Anaf Yosef is a good perush. Yeah, he is the same person who's the Otar Tfilos perush, who's also, yeah, I mean, he's good. Okay. Ki ra'isi to alto gedola v'emana mehaschalas harishona. I saw that his benefit would be great. So he's going to explain a few of them. Afu b'chein ani meir libecha v'rayonecha. Nevertheless, I am pointing out to you, to your heart and your thoughts. I don't know what that means. And you should open your eyes to the path that the Chachamim spoke about in these drashos. And you should look towards their intention. And it should be for you as God. What? It can't be about kavanasam, right? Because that's feminine.
Like a judge or...
Yeah, maybe. But what's the yeh halacha?
Is it from Shema?
Oh, the derech maybe. Maybe the derech. Right. Al haderech hazeh. Shidu chachamim b'drashos alahem umenu kavanasam mimenu kavanasam teit sofa v'yihi halacha lelukim. Yeah. So that derech should be like. I don't know. I still don't know about the Elohim part, but that's what the Yehia is. Yeah. Okay.
I imagine it's not like Shem Hashem.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably Elohim. Yeah. V'ata tieli lepeh.
What translation of Shem Hashem?
It's not.
Let's see what this translation says of it.
Rambam Kiyosha?
Yeah.
I'm joking. I don't get that. I see what you mean.
Yeah. So apparently, I'm finding this translation here. Either it is a extremely loose translation that just skips sentences, or he was going based off of a different manuscript than the one we're reading. So it doesn't have anything about this. Okay. What?
It's just funny. Huh?
Yeah. Okay. And you will be for me as a mouthpiece. We will. And from this you will escape. Your soul will escape from mocking the words of the Chachamim, or from denying the truth of their words. Oh, I guess I should have said this. Are we all holding in the Rambam's 3 groups?
From Chalik?
From Chalik?
I'm not.
You're not?
So yeah.
Sort of, yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. So then I'll send you the translation later on, just because that I not that he's assuming that, but like that's a good thing to assume. It's not that very long. It's like 4 paragraphs or something like that. Just like the 3 groups of how people relate to Chazal. Okay. So you don't mock. This will save you from mocking them or denying the truth of their words.
Just to make sure that I know what it is. That's people who take it at face value and believe it's true in the literal sense.
Yeah.
People take it at face value and assume it's false. People who understand, and then people who understand the depths of it.
Yeah, I would just add to your second group. So first is people who take it literally and praise it. Second group is people who take it literally and mock it. And then third group is people who realize that there's an illusion and like it's not to be taken literally, and then they understand it or they seek to understand it. Yeah. Okay. Oh, Mishatachshov Shehim. Oh, so he's explaining the 2 groups. So the first one is that's group 2. Okay, people who mock the words of the Chachamim or deny the truth of what they said. Oh, Mishatachshov Shehim Maaseh Nisim Kasher Naseh L'Neviim. Or they believe that they're miracles like they were done for the Nevi'im. Okay. Meaning, I think he's talking about the miraculous events in the Gadata, you know.
I mean, a lot of the events in the Gadata are about Chumash.
Right. I think he probably means the ones that are about like the Tan Tanaim and Amoraim, you know?
I guess that's it.
Yeah. V'chichein yasel chol chacham v'chasid, and that they're done for every chacham and chassid, yeah. V'she'ein hefresh bein kriyas yamsuf leMoshe liot Mitzrayim uvein slichas hayarden leElisha uleEliyahu o le'echad zulas elo. So there's no difference between the splitting the sea for Moshe and the Yot Mitzrayim and the what's that slichas hayarden for Elisha and Eliyahu?
Don't know.
At first, I thought he said Yeshua.
Yeah, that would have. That's also what I would have expected.
That's when you split the Yarden. I don't know what slicha is.
Yeah, slicha.
Wait, so he's saying there is no difference, or he's saying these people think there's no difference?
These people think there's no difference. Yeah.
Okay.
So
He's
slicha.
definitely not saying there's no difference.
Slicha
Oh, I see,
here
I see.
is crossing water or fording. So I don't know. Did they cross the water? Is that an incident? I don't know. I'm not
wonder if they,
familiar
like,
with
like walked over the surface or something.
I don't know. Yeah.
Huh.
Because the only ones I know about that they did are the miracle with the jug, and then the the ascent in fire, and like the priest of Baal. I'm not aware. In this case, may same with the kid. Yeah, I'm not aware of any Yarden miracle. Okay. All of these things are necessitated when you take these drashos literally, or on their surface level. Or from what is what appears to them at first glance. So that's an interesting distinction, right? I mean, I don't know how much we can be medoctic in his words, but I feel like we can because he is the son of the Rambam. Right, is taking them al pi pshutan o al pi hanir mehem l'chatchila b'iyun harishon. And you do see people do this with Midrashim, that there are certain people who they know not to take them literally, but then they'll just come up with a superficial explanation. You know, like I'm trying to give examples I've heard recently. What are some good examples? I mean, not to insult the Maharsha, but in the Sason and Simcha Gemara that we did, right, when he said, okay, I won't insult the Maharsha, but I'll let the Shem Mishmuel insult him, right? So the Shem Mishmuel criticized the Maharsha for saying, so Maharsha said that the whole dialogue between Sason and Simcha, the whole purpose of it is just to mock the Tzedukim. Right, so he's not taking it literally. That this is actually going to happen. Like what they said is actually going to come true. But he's giving like a surface level interpretation, and like the way the Shem Mishmuel phrased his objection was, like, I don't believe that these words were written down by Chazal just to mock the Tzedukim. There have to be ideas here, So like that kind of explanation,
But why is that impossible? It could have just been like a polemic with this.
Yep, and that's what the Rav held also, right? I mean, that's kind of how the Rav said it. Yeah. But I guess I'm using it as an example. That's what the Shem Mishmuel would accuse him of. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I've definitely heard explanations of Midrashim where I say that they like metaphoricize it in a way that is not true to the way that those people would read any other statement of Chazal.
Yeah, right. or like, so I guess, I mean, maybe, I'm sure we could divide these into categories, but like let's say like, the one about the way to like see the shadim, about like the burning, like, so like if someone like read that whole thing and be like, I want to say that the pshat is it's about your inner demons, and that's it, okay, great. Like that's, okay, yeah. Or when you have fluffy ideas that you'll have a whole elaborate midrash and they'll say like, and we learn from here that you should love Torah. Like, like that's like more of a popular style, but yeah.
Like if you ever need to give like a Torah to like a bunch of fourth graders,
yeah,
you can take any portion of the Torah and make it about V'ahavta l'orecha kamod.
Yeah, right. Secret sauce. Okay, so V'dai haya banu lahoros sheyesh midrashos umasios sheyesh lahem inyan pnimi nestar chutz meha inyan hachitoni nira. It would be enough for us to teach that there is in these Midrashim and events, or these incidents, things with internal hidden content that is other than their external apparent meaning. Okay, meaning like, I think what he's saying is like if the only thing we did was to convey that message, then like dayenu, you know, like there is a hidden meaning. Certainly what my father of blessed memory said in his writings about this. Lule ki chefti uritoni lahosifacha biur ulahodiacha masim bechiluk inyanehem shani mechalik lacha bekarov. Okay, I'm not sure how to translate the lule here. And usually lule is like word not for the fact that, but I think he's saying my desire is to add. Oh, okay, that's going back on the hayabano. So it would have been enough for to just say, hey guys, there's like a hidden meaning. If not for the fact that I actually do desire to add explanation and to make known to you the division of their contents that I'm going to divide for you shortly. And I'll give you examples in this parak. But I got to have a hagdama. So what he's going to do is he's going to divide the Midrashim. This is what we read superficially that one time, the categories of Midrashim. But first he's going to give you a hagdama. And as it says here, hagdama. Okay. The bold big letters is not his writing. That's just the heading that these da'at people gave. Da. Ki ata chayav ladas. You should know that you are obligated to know. Whoa. Kol mi sheyirtza lahami das yadua. Anyone who wishes to establish a known opinion or a view, velisa pnei omra, and to show favoritism to its the one who said it. Ulakabel dato beli iyun v'havana l'inyan oso da'as im emes ata. Is that supposed to say ata? Ita im lo. And to accept his opinion without investigation and understanding of the matter of that opinion, whether it's true or not. Okay, so in other words, if you want to put forth an opinion and have people accept it without people investigating it, shazem min hadeos haras, that's a bad midah. Okay, v'hu ne'asar miderech haTorah.
How do we know that's true?
Thankfully, he explains. V'hu ne'asar miderech haTorah v'gam miderech haseichel. So it's asur midoraisa and it's asur midah aseichel. Okay, yeah. So now he's going to say how. Eino miderech haseichel mipnei shehu mischayev giraun v'chesron b'hisbonenus ma shetzarich lahamid bo. So it's not in the manner of rationality because it shehu mischayev giraun v'chisaron b'hisbonenus ma. Hold on, I'm getting a bunch of notifications here. Shetzarich lahamid bo.
A question about earlier.
Yeah.
Is it saying that you want to like put forth an opinion or
I-
an opinion?
I said put forth because it's laha'amid. Meaning if you try to get.
Well, I think the
Sounds like that. Doesn't sound like the other way. It says
Lisa Pnei Omra.
yeah. And the Kabbalah.
That's also true.
Kabbalah.
Yeah, that's true. Lahamid. So to, I guess, it's weird lashon though than lahamid, right?
Yeah, I guess it's in your own mind. To
That's a good way to say it,
establish
right?
this. Yeah.
Right. If you want to establish the truth of something and show favoritism to the one who said it and accept his opinion without investigating it, so then that's bad midah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think that's better.
Yeah. It's like the opposite half of the is it true question that we always ask initially.
Yeah. The opposite half, yes. Yeah. Okay, so it's not in derech haseichel because it necessitates deficiency and lack of understanding in what you need to believe. I don't know what that means. Let me look at this translation here. It says it goes against common sense. They translate as common sense because he wants people to believe something without evaluating and investigating whether it squares with the facts. This is a very loose translation. I don't know if I like that. Mischayev, it necessitates giraun v'chesron. I think those are synonyms. He's bonus ma shetzarich lahamin bo. I mean, I guess if you're holding that you should accept something without investigating it, I mean, it almost sounds circular the way he's saying it, right? Like,
I think he's saying it necessitates a deficient understanding of the thing.
Okay, that's a good way to say it. I agree with that. Right,
Yeah.
right. Because if you're not understanding it, then and accepting it, then you're accepting an ununderstood version of it. Right? Yeah. Umiderech haTorah mipnei shenotem miderech haemes v'notem al kav hayashar. So it deviates from the Torah because it is a deviation from the path of truth and the line of uprightness. Okay, I guess because the Torah is pro-truth. Yeah. He gives examples. Amar Hashem Yisrael lo tisa pnei dal lo sehadar pnei gadol b'tzedek tishbot v'gomer. So Hashem says, don't show favoritism to the poor and don't honor the presence of a great person. With righteousness you shall judge. Does he just leave out one word? Isn't it just b'tzedek tishbot amitecha?
I don't know.
Hilchos Avodah Zarah and whatever it is, yeah. Va'amar lo sakiru panim b'mishpat. It says don't literally recognize faces. But what's the not show favoritism? Lo sakiru panim b'mishpat. How do we translate that?
Isn't it show favoritism?
Yeah, but how do we differentiate that from lo tisa pnei dal? I'm just trying to find a different translation. It means essentially the same thing, but don't. There's a
Visualize.
yeah. It's like that. It's like individualize. It's don't like discriminate. Don't discriminate in judgment. Yeah. Ve'en hefresh bein kabbalas oso das lahamida b'lo raya o bein shenamin laomra v'nasa lo panim v'nitan lo. Okay, there's no difference whether we accept the opinion to establish it without proof, or whether we believe the one who said it and show him favoritism, the nitan lo. What does nitan lo mean here? You say turn?
Yeah.
I was thinking more of like towing in nitan. Yeah, right? Yeah, to be claimed by him, meaning like, maybe it's like to buy into his claim. Ki ha'emes ito b'lisafek. For the truth is with him without a doubt. Yivneshu adam gadol, Haman v'kilko v'dardea. Because he's a great person, trustworthy, and supported, and Dardea, which is the name of the Yemenite movement that supported Kafak's grandfather. But I don't know what Dardea is in literal terms. Is that even a real word, Dardea? Right, those are the Yemenite rationalists, the anti-Kabbalists. Dardean. Dardea is not a word in this dictionary. Yeah, I don't know.
No.
I don't know. Shekolze eno raya of al aser. All of this is not a proof, meaning just because you accept the person and stuff, it's not proof, but it's aser. So that's his full argument for the Torah, is that the Torah, you see that the Torah is against showing favoritism to people, and a judge shouldn't accept an opinion just because this guy is poor or because he's great or anything like that. And when you accept an opinion just because the person who says it without accepting proof, you're acting contrary to the way that the Torah wants a person to judge. I don't think he's saying it's literally an Isser D'Oraisa, like it's because that's only for the judge in a case of judgment. But he's saying it's like deviating from what the judge the standards are for judgment.
Cool.
Yeah.
What exactly is he arguing against? Is he arguing against believing as being absolutely true, or even being like biased in favor of it?
Sounds like he's saying accepting it as true.
Okay.
Do you see something that indicates that it's like just being biased in favor of it?
Well, those are even mean in the Torah. Those are something that exists. He says he shouldn't be going for it. Okay.
Right, but the case is because he's MS ito b'lisafek.
Right.
Sounds like accepting the truth.
That line.
It's probably also bad to be biased, but
yeah. Also, the thing that he's referring to isn't giving the person's idea of favoritism. He's talking about accepting it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Lahami Das uses several times.
Yeah. Because the analogy that he's drawing is just that you shouldn't pass judgment on an external case without like investigating the truth of the matter. You shouldn't pass judgment on your mental judge.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. No. What are the two things he's talking about? The two types of this error?
The two.
Hedrash ben blah or blah?
Where is that?
It's the second line.
In Hefresh. Second line. In Hefresh bein Kabbalas also das lahamida b'loraya. Obein shenamin laomra v'nasa lapanim v'nitan lo. Sounds like to me he's distinguishing between accepting the idea without a proof, like regardless of who said it, or accepting something based on the person who said it. Meaning, like sometimes, like people make those two different mistakes. Like sometimes they'll accept something just because the thing itself is appealing, for example, and they just want to investigate it. But then sometimes it's not because they're attracted to the idea itself, but because the person who says it, they just like accept whatever they say. You know.
Do you have an example of the first type of thing?
Were they accepted with because of the appeal of the idea? Yeah, I mean, people believe what they want to hear all the time in the news. You know, like they'll just hear what like, oh, there was fraud and the election's a sham. Yeah, like someone said it, so it must be true. Yeah. Okay, so what's his point? No, I was gonna say his point. According to this Hagdama. Oh, sorry. Did you want to say something?
No.
Okay. According to this Hagdama, lo nischayev mipnei godel malas chachmei haTalmud. Utchunasam l'shleimus hatchunasam befirish haTorah uvitiktukeha v'yosher amarehem bebiur klaleha uprateha shenitan lahen v'na'amid datam b'chol imrehem b'refuos uv'chachmas hateva v'hatchuna Ulhamin osan kasher namin osan befirush haTorah. Okay, so that was a long sentence. According to this Hagdama, it is necessary. Lo nischayev. It should not be necessary due to the greatness of the stature of the sages of the Talmud and their qualities of perfection and the qualities of their commentary on the Torah and its particulars and the rightness of their sayings in the explanation of its generals and particulars. Shenitan lahem. That there's got to be a better way to translate Nitan Lahem, but like we, accept their claims, right? And establish their opinions, meaning we uphold their opinions in all of their statements in the medicines and in the sciences and in Hatchuna. What is that? Is that like geometry or math? Tchuna? Or is that astronomy? Maybe astronomy. This says here, astronomy, yeah. So astronomy, and to believe them like we believe them in their explanation of the Torah. Shetachlis chachmasa biyadam, because shetachlis chachmasa biyadam, the utmost of its wisdom is in their hands, meaning the wisdom of the Torah, of the Perishah Torah. Ulahem nimsra lahorosa libnei adam, and it was given over to them to instruct people in it. As it says according to the Torah, which they say. So in other words, we don't, just because we trust them with regards to the Torah and halacha and all that stuff, because that's what their authority is. That's what their chachma is, and that's what the Torah entrusts them with the ability to like instruct. That does not necessitate that we trust them in the sciences and medicine and astronomy. Okay?
Right.
Yeah. And he's saying that the reason why you would make that mistake is because you'd say, oh, we're supposed to trust Chazal. And therefore, even when they say something in medicine that doesn't make sense, we should trust it. Right? So he's saying that no. That would be like showing favoritism to them in an area that's not theirs. Yeah. I mean, the implicit thing he's saying here, by the way, is that he's not saying don't trust someone who's an expert on their subject. Right, like that's clear from what he's saying. That's not showing favoritism, because and that's why he's saying you can trust them on halacha. Yeah. Okay. Ata roeh hachachamim v'meh shalonis barer lahem miderech svarasam umasam umatanam. So you see that the chachamim, in what was not clear to them by way of or was not established to them by way of their theorizing and their debate, Omrim, they said, Elokim, they swear by God. Ilu Amri Yehoshua ben Nun lo tziati le. If Yehoshua ben Nun said it, I wouldn't pay attention to him. Right? Yeah. Klomar, meaning to say, lo ha'isi ma'amin be, meaning I wouldn't believe him. I'm sure you would pay attention to him if you show him and said it, you just wouldn't believe him. Alpha Pishu Navi, even though he's a Navi. Kevan she'ein biado yicholes lahodia ha'enyan b'kavana miderech hasvara of hamata v'hamatan. Because he doesn't have the ability to inform us on the matter, meaning to teach us, to convince us through knowledge, the kavana miderech hasvara, through way of explanation and deliberation, or debate. Drachim shebhem nitan hatalmud l'hidarish. And the ways that that were given to the Talmud to expound. Meaning, if Yeshua ben Nun said a halachic opinion, I think he's saying, right, and just told you to accept it because I'm Yeshua ben Nun, I wouldn't believe it even if it's Yeshua ben Nun unless he could demonstrate it through the Talmudic methods.
And is he saying Yeshua as opposed to Moshe?
Yeah, so it is always an interesting thing that they don't say about Moshe, right? So what does that imply?
If you say that Moshe Rabbeinu said it, it's like it gets into the whole thing of, is he saying it as like a chacham or as like Moshe Rabbeinu?
Yeah, it's they avoid saying about Moshe Rabbeinu. I'm sure this is exactly the type of thing that I'm sure if you look up this statement in the Masifta, in the back, they'll have guys who say like, why does he say Yeshua, not Moshe? So probably a way to find it. Yeah.
Is it in that voice too?
Yeah, they do. Yeah. That's definitely the Masifta back the voice. V'dai bezeh raya umofes. That should be enough of a proof. Meaning him quoting this Yoshua thing. V'lo na'anin lahen od. We won't waver about it more. Like ni'anuim halulav. Is that ni'anim lahem od? Kimish anachnu motzaim lahem omrim shalom nis ames v'lo nis kaimu b'gemara divrei harefuos. Because we find that they said, we find them saying, lahem omrim, shalonis amis, shalonis kaimu b'gemar divrei refuos, that the cures in the Gemara were not established and not verified. Let me just read the English to make sure I got that right here. It says here, this translation must be going off of another manuscript. He says, let me offer you one conclusive proof that no one will refute. It is this. We find that the sages themselves said that the opinions expressed in the Gemara with regard to general medicine are not borne out. And then it gives examples. Uk'inyan tekuma, she'amru shemoneh lahapil hanafilim, shalonis ames, like the, it says here in English here, the preserving stone. Do you know that? Was that a hymn of recognition?
Sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Like a amulet type thing?
I guess so. It was a safeguard against miscarriage or other things mentioned in the tractate Shabbos.
I'm not sure how the Yeshua thing was proof.
Because if we're supposed to believe the Chachmei HaTalmud, because they're Chachamim, then the Chachmei HaTalmud should believe Yeshua because he's a Chacham. Yeah.
And that was in halacha. So like
I think that was in halacha. Yeah. Right. So certainly in non-halachic areas. Yeah. So he's saying with this preserving stone.
I feel like you could easily just say like, oh, you can see that there wasn't like the same sort of qualitative distinction between the Chachamim of the Talmud and Yeshua as there was between us and the Chachamim of the Talmud. Like
Right. Yeah, and that's an argument you'll find people making. Right, is that variance on that of like, well, they had the right to question, but we don't. And yeah, well, I guess we'll have to examine that. So anyway, this preserving stone, which would prevent miscarriages, shalom nisames, that it was not verified. So there are other examples in that parak and Shabbos. There are cases where they tested these things and they listened, and it was heard among them. They relied on them. I don't know what that means. They didn't admit to the truth of the research of a true doctor or intelligent one. What was this? yeah, this English is not it's really
Maybe
not.
They didn't investigate themselves, and they didn't go to a doctor to hear that, or from their own investigation.
Lo Yoda Amitas Ion Rofe. Yeah, Yoda Amitas Ion Rofe though. Yeah, I'm not sure. By the way, I should mention, I believe, I'm trying to think if I saw this with my own eyes or if someone told me about it. I think I saw it with my own eyes. Matti Cohen says that this whole thing is forged, this paragraph.
Really?
Yeah.
I was actually wondering what he would say.
Yep.
Yeah.
He says it's for, I think either I asked him or someone else asked him back in his thing. He said this whole part is forged. That's how he gets out of it. His prejudices.
Wow.
Yeah. But I'm recording this in case someone does want to bring a proof that it's forged, but I'm not going to accept that it's forged just because someone who doesn't like the opinion says it, you know? Yeah. But yeah, that answers the challenge. Yeah.
Is there any particular evidence of force?
Not that I know of. Yeah. I don't know if there's a critical edition of Avraham and Ramam, though. I have not seen it. But you know,
aren't a lot of his works missing paragraphs and stuff?
Yeah, I mean that's what we started off with the fragments thing. That this is a fragment. Fragment.
So it would be easy to forge.
I don't know. Easy, but
I have no idea how easy it is.
yeah.
Maybe you know.
I mean, let's put it this way: the fact that like that like every copy of this that I've seen has it would indicate that it's not forged. Until
forged a long time ago.
Right, but what I'm saying is like all the people who are publishing this don't think it's forged. So the default assumption is it's not forged unless we have reason to assume it is forged. I think that's like a normal. You don't just pull a random Ritva off of the shelf and say, I'm going to assume that everything that I don't agree with is forged unless someone proves otherwise. No, you assume these are
The part of the Ritva where he says that you can't do that.
Yeah. Okay, Vida, you should know, ki lo yischayev ba'avur mash amarnu shihei mash amru Chazal, I ichpa, I kafisa achol, I tzachis shaseh, I bashel kaderach shadi b'machan. I gotta look at the English for that one. It says here, you should read, was it? Yeah, cooking, I think it's cooking a pot. It says you should realize, however, that there are exceptions to the rule. That the medical, i.e. that the medical advice of the sages is unreliable. For example, the admonition of the sages: if you are hungry, eat; if you are thirsty, drink; if your dish is cooked, pour it out while it is hot. Is certainly true. Okay, yeah, yeah. Okay, I'm not going to disagree with that. Kizem hamarahu ikar habrios. This is like essential for health. Kasher imsuhu habachina urufuos harofe, as has been verified by experimentation and the medicine of the healer. I tried it, it worked. This one time I was hungry and I ate and I just felt so healthy.
Are you talking about a sick person?
I don't know what this context is. Yeah, I'm really not sure.
It was hot and it was good.
Rotalomar. Oh, here we go. Rotalomar shalo yochal adam achi yirav. Oh, there you go. Don't eat until you're hungry. Until you're starving or hungry, I guess. But shalo yishte achi yitzma. What's the diet? There's a diet like this that people say. My mom's friend does this. Intuitive eating is what they call it.
I think it's called a human diet. No, I think there's a thing called a human diet.
Yeah, okay.
Basically, just eat normally.
No, so this is the one where like okay. I mean, that sounds much more like what this is saying. That's not what I was thinking. I was thinking like there's this thing of you the whole diet is based on listening to your body, and like when it is hungry, like you feed it until it stops. Like you don't eat based on desires. Yeah, like on like habits or
I think that's part of what I'm talking about.
Yeah, right. This goes more particulars of like if you have a craving for certain things, then like that's your body telling you that you should eat it. But like there's like false cravings and real cravings. Like you gotta listen to I don't know. Yeah, but yours sounds more like what he's saying. Yeah.
How do you know when your body's lying to you?
I think the whole idea behind it. I have never read about this, but just from what I heard when I was skeptical, also is like you have to everyone has been kind of like habituated to eat certain foods and like be attached to certain things. So you have to like reset your body by like ignoring it, and then you get to the point where like the body will tell you what it needs. Like I reminiscent of, let's say, like when pregnant women have cravings, like for highly specific things, like that's their body like telling them you have to eat this thing. So I guess like these intuitive diet people think that like everything you could do that with. I don't know. Look it up on Wikipedia. I don't know. All right. Okay. Oh, sorry. And then when you're thirsty, don't delay drinking. That's me. Power suggestion. And when you digest the food in your innards, you throw it and don't delay. Oh, probably, yeah. I've never heard of throwing it being like a euphemism. Mm-hmm. But it's with a chaf, not a ches. Yeah, that's what he says. Right? If you need to go to the bathroom, then don't delay. So is that what it means by the? That must be so the kedera thing is a mashal for like waste, right? Like pour it out while it's hot. Like if you got to go to the bathroom, if you got to go. Yeah. Okay, so he's saying that this is an example of stuff that's like good advice, right? So he's not saying reject everything that the Chachamim say about medicine. He's saying if it stands up to the test, then do it, but don't accept it just because they said it. Yeah. Okay. This is again not his heading. Na'amin la'aristo rak b'dvar shabal b'mofes.
Just to clarify. Yeah. The thing that they say about Yeshua, does that mean we should not just trust them even where they are experts?
No, I think I'm pretty sure from the fact that he says, I won't believe him until he demonstrates it by way of svara and, I see what you're saying.
Like on authority.
I mean, I think maybe because they themselves were experts in Talmudic stuff, then they're only going to accept him on the basis of if he can convince them of it. But I think we, who are relying on their psak, should accept them on that basis, because that's kind of his implicit premise from earlier that we just shouldn't rely on them on the non-halachic stuff, but otherwise it's all piatori yeshur yerucha. Yeah. Okay. V'chein ein lanu liton la'aristo v'lomar. So too we should not. There's got to be another word for towing here instead of claim. Alleged claim, plead, maintain. Load charge. Maintain? Allege?
Well, I mean, when you allege something, you're claiming it.
Right.
Like legally.
Yeah. What it says here, he says argue. Okay, so argue is good, right? We should not argue Aristo about Aristotle, Lomar, and say, Hoyol v'adon chachme ha-philosophim hu. I've never heard that expression about. Was that like the parallel of Adon HaNavim? Like
the master philosopher.
Yeah, the master of the chachamim of philosophy. Since he's such a great guy, the Hekim Mofsim Amitiim al Metzius Haborius Ale, and he established true proofs about the existence of God. The Kiyotz B'Dvarim. Was it? Yeah, I don't think Aristotle held by miracles. Yeah, the Kiyotz Midvarim Amitiim, and other things in true matters. Shibao B'Mofis, that came by way of proof. Upagao derech emes, and he encountered the way of truth. Kichin mata ha'emes be'emunas kadman ha'olam, kadmas olam. So we shouldn't say, this is part of what we shouldn't say. So too, he found the truth regarding the belief in the eternity of the universe. And that God doesn't know the particulars. And other things like that. Did I just hear the volume of the Rabag flip over in its shelf? Yeah. V'lo lahachziv v'lomar, and not to lie and say hoil v'tab emunos elu kichein tab b'chol emarav. Or we also shouldn't say that since he made a mistake in those areas, then he made a mistake in everything, right? So we shouldn't say Aristotle Yimach Shemo, right? That was a Ramban joke. Yeah. Yesh lanu, but we should have. Yesh lanu, or we should, I guess, yesh lanu. I don't know. Yesh lanu ulechol navan v'chacham l'hisbonin. We and every navan v'chacham should understand, should contemplate, should analyze kol dea v'chol mamar, every opinion and every statement. al derech sheyesh lisbon nasa, in the way it should be understood. Ula'amis ulakayim ma shiroi lakayim, and to verify and establish what is proper to establish. Ulavatel ma shiroi lavatlo, and to negate or disprove what is fitting to negate. V'lamud milifsok hadin b'mesh lo huchra ha'echad mishnei hafkayim, and to refrain from making a decision in something that is not able to be decided from two options. Amru mishi amru, whoever said it. This is like his expanded version of his father's famous statement of kabel hamas mishi amru, right? Accept the truth from whoever says it. He's saying you should not accept the truth because of what someone says, but you should do an investigation and establish it based on its methods. Okay. Kasher anu roim osam zal amru im halacha nekabel im ladin yesh.
One time too many.
I was gonna. That was exactly what I was gonna say. I didn't want to call you out.
I thought it was good enough.
I think a knee jerk reaction.
Kasher.
It took me a second.
Kasher anu roim osam zal
That's
amru.
what you should do.
Im halacha nekabel im ladin yesh tshuva. Right. If it's a halacha, we'll accept it. But if it is a din, meaning if it's an argument, then we have a response. Yeah. Okay, so that's I mean, this is pretty basic stuff here, right? That you should accept stuff based on proofs, etc. Yeah, I wonder who he's writing for. I don't even know where this appeared. Like what this is what this was first written in.
Oh, is this just like a free floating?
Well, that's how it came down to us, but but I don't know how it was originally. If it was part of a larger work or something like that. Yeah. Oh, I thought you were asking.
Yeah, no, my question was like, do we only have this as a free floating thing that isn't attached to something?
I think so. Yeah. V'chein hem osim b'mesh lehuchra ha'echad mishnei hafkayim shema'amidim also b'omro bo teku. So too you see that they did this when they couldn't establish something that had two possible ways. They would leave it with a teku, right? That unresolved. What I know that's what teku means, but what does teku literally mean? You know?
It's an acronym.
It's an acronym?
Kishbi Tarz Kushios Vibayos.
I've heard that.
Oh, I've never heard that before. Interesting. It's not written as an acronym, right? I mean, maybe it came from that.
Maybe it's not actually an acronym, but it's referred to as one.
Yeah.
But like that's
I think
common.
it literally means stands.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think people say
Yeah. V'chozrim lahem midas shnis ames lahem, and they would retract. V'chozrim lahem midas shnis ames lahem. I think meaning they would retract from something if it was demonstrated to them, if the truth was demonstrated to them. But mamar mavaharmim becomes chazar bi rav ploni midavarav. So and so retracted from his words. Chazru behem lahoros kedivrei Beis Shammai. They retracted from passing like Beis Shammai. Yeah. Okay. So we see that they're intellectually honest. Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's funny. Like I'm reading this and like this is pasha to us, right? But people need to hear this. Like there's so many people who would just accept it because the Chachamei Talmud said it. Like even today, like there's, it's like we're lucky to have been taught by teachers who did not teach us that. But like, because it's like sounds like he's just going on these obvious things, but it's not so obvious to people.
Right.
Yeah, the irony is they're going to accept it based on his authority, right? But
Right.
It's good for them. Okay. V'gadol mizeh b'hora asam v'ahavtem derech hamishpat amru. So greater than this in their teaching and in their love of the way of justice, they said, Uki Rava Amora Ale V'darish V'amar Dvarim Shemarti Bifnechem Taos Hein Biadi. So Uki Rava Amora Ale V'darash V'amar. What does it mean? He established an Amora on them? Does he like push the guy?
Or was like a Torah guy, like the
I guess.
speaker.
Yeah, speaker, right? And he said, the things that I told you that I said in front of you were a mistake, were my mistake. Yeah. Binyanim elu v'kiyotz behen, and all things like this. Ein lahavinam ulhizbonim osam mipnei shahaya gadol ha'etzav ha'chachma. One should not understand them and contemplate them because he was great in counsel and wisdom, but rather because of the proofs and the evidence and proofs that are for them. So that's what the Ramam said. This is something that's clear and simple in the eyes of everyone who deviates from his bodily desires. What does it mean? Like, you don't do this and you're caught in your desires? I don't know what it means by al-taivas gufo.
Like if you're thinking clearly.
Yeah, that. But why did he say that? You know,
Yeah.
it's weird. Akhrach omer Hashem eshal ezer al his ha-emes ki chol hadrashos animtzayim b'divrayim zal b'talmud uv'shar makomos mischalkos l'chamisha chalakim. So after this introduction and with Hashem, I ask Hashem for his help in understanding the truth, that all of the drashos that are found in their words in the Talmud and in other places are divided into 5 categories. Yeah, so he's going into 5 categories now. What was it? Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, kind of like a drashos. What does that mean? Like, why is it? What's the drashos? I don't know.
Is he, yeah, he's giving 5 categories of drashos.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was like, yeah, makes sense.
Okay, good. Says who? No. So the first of the 5 categories, him drashos al pi pshutan. These are drashos in accordance with the simple meaning or the literal meaning. Lo niskaven bahem davar acher. What's going on?
No, I just wanted to see what that said because there's like a heavy reflection.
Okay. I thought like something was malfunctioning. Lo niskaven bahem davar acher zulas apshat b'hanir be'enei hahogim. So this is an ironic first category, right? He's saying that it's things that are simple and nothing was intended in them other than the simple meaning that is apparent to those who read it. Didn't he just say like not to do that? I mean, but yeah. So he's saying that there are categories of things that are just to be taken according to the pshat.
Yeah, but presumably after investigation, you realize it's just pshat.
Yeah, right. But that's the key, right? I mean, after investigation. Even though this is a clear category and it doesn't need an example. I'll give you an example. Tosfos biur for increased clarity. It's also for a person to fill his mouth with laughter in this world, as it is stated in Tehillim. Then his mouth will be filled with laughter.
But
Right.
can you still like try to understand like what's bad about that? Like what exactly does it mean?
What does it say?
Yeah, but it's.
Oh, it's quite.
Are you laughing there?
Whoa. We got a real rebel here. But yeah.
Like there still is questions.
Right, but I think what he means is that like the meaning, he meant what he said.
Mhm.
Right, it's us sort of laugh.
Right, it's not a metaphor.
It's not a metaphor, yeah.
Right, okay.
Have you not heard this?
What does that mean, Sosi?
Right, it's like the excessive joy.
Yeah, it's excessive. I think.
Yeah. It's in the like this is in the category. I think the Ram brings us on the halacha in the end of Tinius. Let me just see here.
Where is that coming from?
What about something like this? Like, are you supposed to? I'm assuming you're supposed to analyze the reasons for.
Yeah, it's not like learning stops here, right? It's just that there's nothing hidden.
Okay.
I think there's a difference between like there's more to understand and there's like hidden ideas.
Saying, like he doesn't give a proof, like a raya for that. I mean, he does give a raya, but like, is it like I don't know. Is it the same kind of thing that you can like say like, is it true? Like reject it.
Yeah, I would think so, right? Like, yeah.
It doesn't fall into that.
And from that day on, Yaakov never laughed again. Oh no. Yeah.
Like it doesn't fall into the halacha category. It falls into that.
Yeah, it sounds like he's treating this as an agada, right? I mean, like,
I
yeah.
think it's more
But
wild.
I'm saying like agada is like personality agadas, they would fit into everything else, not into halacha, not into like.
What do you mean by personality? Like
whatever things like that, like
Yeah.
agadas like this that are teaching you ideas. It doesn't fit into like it would fit into like the science kind of category where like it's not necessarily like their expertise.
So it's a good question, right? Because when he cautioned us about relying on stuff, he cautioned us about like things related to like investigative disciplines, right? As opposed to, for example, when we did the Shmuel Hanagid and the מבוא התלמוד, did we do that in Ibn Ezra when we defined what Agada is, or was that not with us?
No.
No, okay. So let me just find it really quickly. Yeah, but
Maybe not.
I can't remember. Can't keep track of these things. Let me just find. I'm just looking on. It's possible that this is available somewhere for free online, but I just don't know. So I'm just looking on Bar-Ilan. Maybe. Where is it going to be? It's going to be in Sifrei Klalim V'Seder Hadoros, מבוא התלמוד לרשמול הנגיד. Are you getting Shmuel? Oh, you're getting a chair. Okay. Did there used to be a rule that the chairs had to stay in that room?
I think there used to be.
There used to be. Okay, yeah, because I saw them out and I was like shocked, but I guess it was because.
We haven't heard that rule.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Because Rabbi Zimmer Shiur was in that room in the morning,
Yeah.
but it was just freezing with the windows open.
Oh.
So we moved out here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now that you mentioned, I do remember him hesitating.
Ah.
I didn't realize.
Yeah.
I didn't realize.
We're done with the
No.
So this is Shmuel Hanagid in the מבוא התלמוד, which is found in the back of the Maseches Brachos. Is that Maseches Brachos? Yeah. So he defines all of the terms, like key Gemara terms and stuff. So he says Haggadah, okay, here meaning like Aggadata, who kol perush shabab yavu b'talmud, shum inyan shelo yihi a mitzvah. So it's any explanation in the Talmud on any topic that is not a mitzvah. Zohi Haggadah. This is Haggadah. And then he says, V'ein lecha lilmod mimeno ela ma she'ela al hadas. You should only learn from it what makes sense. Okay? V'yesh lecha ladas, and you should know, shekol ma shekimu chazal, halacha, b'inyan mitzvah, shehi mipi Moshe Rabbeinu, alav shalom. So that everything that Chazal established regarding halacha is from Moshe Rabbeinu. Shekibel mipi gvur, who got it from God. Ein lecha lahosif alav lo legroa mimenu. You can't add or detract. Aval ma shepirshu b'psukim, but that which they explained about the psukim, which would fit into this category, because this is Azi Malay Skolpino. Kfi ma shenizdamin lo u'ma shera'a b'da'ato. U'lefi ma sheyala al. Sorry. So it was according to what occurred to him and what he saw with his mind, meaning each person who says it. Ulafim ma sheyala al hadas min pirushim ha'elu lomdim osam v'hashar ein somchin aleihem. Whatever makes sense of these things, we should learn, and the rest we shouldn't rely on. So that's saying what you said, which is that when we encounter a statement like this of Azim al Pino, if we know that it's not a halacha, so then take it or leave it, like based on whether it makes sense or not. You know, you assume that there's chachma there, but if you can't understand it or it doesn't make sense to you, then you don't rely on it. That's what he's saying. You know, yeah. But the question is Avraham ben Avraham, when he gave those examples of the medicine thing, was that just a particular, or is he saying that as is that just? Is he limiting his statements to just science and medicine, or is that just an example of like non-halachic things? Sounds like an example of non-halachic things, because he did say earlier that it's only in regards to al pi Torah sheyirucha and the chachmasa. That's when we have to rely on them.
Right.
You know.
On the other hand, though, you could say that it's things that they're experts in. They might be experts.
That's true also, right. Right. I mean, with mitos, you would think that would be the case.
Yeah.
That they are experts. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, in my mind, I'll tell you, like, you know, there's science, you know, the sciences and stuff, which they were not experts. And then there's like areas of human perfection where we assume that they are experts. Then the really hard category is like, the things on the borderline, right? Like psychology, right? So psychology, in one sense, you have to assume that they knew a lot about psychology, because there's you can't understand human perfection without psychology, and so much of the Torah is psychology. But on the other hand, like psychology is a science, and there are aspects of psychology that they didn't know. Like, let's say, for example, like a clear example, indisputable, they didn't know about clinical depression. So like anything they say about like depression, if they didn't recognize that it's like a chemical state in the brain, like that's just no different than any other scientific error, you know? So like, that's the hard part. Yeah. Okay, so that's category 1. Statements that are, just to reiterate here, lo niskaven behem davar acher zulas hapshat. So I think that means that, again, not that there isn't more to learn from it, but that there's no hidden meaning. Just like, for example, like you could say, like, E equals MC square is very difficult to understand, but there's no hidden meaning there. It was meant literally, like it was whatever, you know, it was meant according to be taken at face value. But there's a lot of chachma there, but it's just not, there's no like trick, you know? Yeah, that's like how I'm understanding it. Okay. Hachelak hasheni, but we'll see if that stands up because we have to look at all the categories. Hachelak hasheni, hadrashos sheyesh chitzon upnimi. So drashos that have an external and an internal meaning. And the intent is in the inner meaning and not the outer surface meaning. The samu lo inyan chitzon hefech inyane hapnimi letoeles gedola. And they made the external meaning the opposite or contrary to the inner meaning for a great purpose. Kvar hisbar rubam, and the majority of them have already been explained about lo kulam, but more hanavuchim, ufir Mishnah. Really? Okay. All right. I guess I got to see there. They've mostly been explained there. Okay. So here's an example. Amar Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Eliezer says, "Asid hakadosh baruch hu lasos machol latadikim b'gan Eden v'hu omid b'nehem." So God is in the future going to make a circle for the tzaddikim in Gan Eden, and He will stand in their midst. And each of them will indicate with his finger. Shneimar, as it says, Amar bayom hahu hine Elokeinu zeh kivinu lo v'yoshiinu zeh Elokeinu kivinu lo nagila v'nismacha b'yeshuasau. And on that day, he will say on that day, "Behold, this is our God. We hoped for Him, and He saved us. This is our God. We hope for Him. We will rejoice and be glad in His salvation." Okay, yeah. So that is not the pshat. In fact, the pshat is the opposite. Hine pshat drash hazeh yarchik kol bal seichal kol bal emuna milhamino. So any intelligent person or person of emuna will distance themselves from it. Inyan ha'amiti shnischaven alav Rabbi Eliezer shescharan shal tzadikim haniskarim l'chayal halam haba. So the true idea that Rabbi Eliezer intended is that the reward of the tzadikim is that's mentioned is in olam haba. Hu hasagasam mi'Hashem yis'alem mashalo yihaya masikim ba'olam hazeh b'shum panim. Is their apprehension of God what they couldn't apprehend in this world in any way. And this is the ultimate good, which is nothing above. There's nothing above it. Anyone familiar with simchas machol? Circle simchas? Okay. And he compared
the dancing.
Yeah, I hope not. That'd be lame.
There's like Paskin Hill and says, Mihalu Shmuel b'machol.
Right, but that's an instrument, isn't it?
Is it?
Isn't it a dance?
I thought it was a circle.
Oh, is it a dance?
Yeah.
I thought Malcolm was a circle.
Okay, could be.
Maybe
So he compares the joy of that apprehension to the joy of a machol. Let me see what this says, machol.
I think it translates literally to circle.
Yeah, but I'm just wondering if it's also an instrument. Just wondering if that's how that got in my head. Machol, dance, or a machol shadim is a fuss or a brouhaha. That sounds like fun. Okay, yeah, machol's dancing. Yeah. So I guess the simcha of dancing. Okay, that's more fun than circle. Dima simchas kol echad ve'echad ma shelo haya yachol lahasik tchila mimenu yisala ba'amro v'chol echad mare ala be'etzva. So it compared the joy of each and every individual getting what he couldn't apprehend before when it says each and every one will point with his finger. V'hevi raya alham latas hanefesh hamaskelas min ha'af v'hachema b'al mazeb amro v'yoshieno. And he's bringing a proof on the escaping of the soul of the rational soul from the anger and wrath in this world by saying, and saved us. He saved us. V'hevi raya al hadar v'hakavod ha'emes sheyeshno az l'tzadikim b'amro nagilav nismecha b'yishua. So, and he brought a proof for the glory and the honor, the true honor that the tzaddikim will have when he says, we will rejoice and be glad in his salvation. Zeh tachlis b'ketzaros lashon ushlemus inyan mipi dimion v'horas inyan nichbadim v'rabim b'milos ketzaros d'varim matim. So it's alluding to these great concepts in these few little words. Uzeh tachshav l'chol kiyot uzeh. From here you can extrapolate to other examples. Yeah.
How is that the opposite of the judge?
I think because he's saying that the opposite is like kfira and physical. Right, that like dancing is like a very physical, psychological pleasure, and the real reward is going to be completely like in terms of the soul, and like the literal meaning is God is amid them, in their midst, and they're pointing to him, but like in the reality, it's their mind is grasping him. Yeah, I think something's my opposite. Yeah,
I hate to like beat a dead horse, but is
that literally or
no?
Yeah. you're just expressing your feelings. You just, hey guys, I just want to say I hate beating dead horses. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So philosophy, would philosophy be included in the accepting of authority or the not?
That's a good question. I mean, that's what we mean by philosophy, right?
Like
it's talking about
like woe afterlife, soul things.
Yeah, I mean, I guess anything that the Torah is that you can assume was addressed in Torah, then they have you can assume they have knowledge of.
Okay.
Yeah. Whether or not you, but still Shmuel HaNagid's thing applies. I think in terms of like you don't accept it just because they say it. I don't think because there's no mitzvah to accept their agadatas, like it's not like Torah Messina, Yeah. All right, you want to stop here for today?
Sure.
All right, let's do that. It's at 8:12.
Oh, I was gonna ask about this dictionary. Is this